Hey guys, it's Chandler, and welcome to the Healing Heroes.
I promise you.
I'm Chandler Stroud, an executive, wife, and busy mom of two, who after years of living with anxiety, health struggles, and an unshakable feeling like I should be happier, made a profound discovery that changed everything. Join me on a journey where unexpected paths lead to healing and more happiness. On this show, we'll explore unconventional ways to unlock more joy in your own life with the help of my very own healers and trusted advisors, the Healing Heroes. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I am so excited to be back here again with Hero Nicole today, and we are talking all about the somatic practices, or meaning of the body practices that Nicole specializes in. And we've talked about many of these approaches to healing before in previous conversations. So I encourage you to go check those out if you want more of a 101 on yoga, sound healing, and Thai bodywork. But today we're going to talk about how all three of those modalities help you reconnect with your power through movement of the body or energy through the body, as is the case in sound healing. And I will say, just to start, because I always like to kick us off with a bit of an anecdote or personal story, I have worked with Nicole for a couple years now, at least. I've taken multiple yoga classes from her, usually her either warm or hot vinyasa flow sessions, which are incredible classes that kind of build up to a peak pose at the end. I've done multiple sound healings with Nicole, which I personally have really enjoyed. And I've said this before on the show, but for you busy moms, working women out there who are just so in your head and you find meditation so inaccessible, sound healing might be the tool you're looking for that really is that gentle push over the edge, your permission slip to just get quiet with yourself for an hour, not look at your phone, and listen to beautiful music as it moves energy through your body. So we'll be talking more about that today as well. And then the Thai bodywork was such a fun surprise. I didn't realize that Nicole practiced that when I started sound healing and yoga with her, but I went over to her house for a session, I think last year, and it was just so eye-opening, very different from Western massage, but incorporates a lot of stretching, a lot of what you would expect in a regular massage session, as well as yoga. And it's actually a type of yoga, which Nicole will also get into. But all of this is to say, all three of these approaches are so distinct, but they are so helpful in helping you get out of your mind and reconnecting with your body in new ways. And that is where your power is. It is not in the to-do lists and the mental load that we carry every day. It is in your heart center. It is getting back in your body and feeling through your emotions so that you can regulate your nervous system and approach your day from a state of peace and positive energy versus this frenetic go, 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 produce, do all day long that I am certainly guilty of. Even now, some days I find myself in those patterns. So to just breathe and move and release a lot of those negative feelings from your body through these approaches is so helpful. And I'm so grateful to Nicole for showing me the way and then helping to show you guys what these amazing approaches to healing can do for you. So I'm excited to get into this with Nicole today. Before we dive into the meat of the conversation, I've introduced Nicole before on the show, but here's a brief overview of her background for our new listeners joining us today. Nicole is dedicated to holistic healing with her own journey centering around the fusion of yoga, Thai bodywork, and the transformative power of energy and sound healing. Through the mindful integration of yoga postures, the therapeutic touch of massage, and the resonant frequencies of energy and sound, she aspires to guide individuals to self-discovery and holistic well-being while creating a space where both the body and spirit find restoration and balance. Welcome back, Nicole. We're so excited to have you back with us today, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Chandler. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we always love seeing you, and I love our conversations because we can span so many interesting topics. So I'm excited to go a level deeper with you today and help women understand how engaging in some of these practices can be an incredible way to just reclaim your voice, your power, and reconnect with yourself in ways that you maybe aren't used to. So maybe just to kick us off, Nicole, to ensure we're all starting from the same place, could you just quickly explain what all three of these practices are? Just a quick definition, kind of 101 overview for new listeners who maybe missed our previous episodes together.
Yes, absolutely. So yoga is the yoke. It's linking breath, mindfulness, and asana, which is movement within the body. And so if you're meditating and you're focusing, you're connecting with the breath, you're observing the body, that is yoga. Or if you're in a power class, that is yoga as well. So it's vast. There are so many different forms of it, but it's an incredibly powerful practice. Sound healing is, and the analogy that I use all the time is if you can imagine a lake, the rippling effect in the water from the thunder, that's essentially what the sound does to our bodies. So our bodies are made up predominantly of water and they respond energetically to the sounds. And there are so many different tools, from crystal bowls to Tibetan bowls, Himalayan bowls, gongs, chimes. I could go on. And they're all different forms of sound healing. And so you will notice in a sound healing session that you'll respond differently depending on what type of tool they're actually using. And Thai bodywork, and it's similar to yoga because we're using and utilizing a lot of the yogic poses, but it's a practice where the practitioner is moving your body and you're kind of moving with them. So it's sort of a restorative partner yoga, maybe. You could imagine it that way, but it's deep stretching, manipulation of the body. There's compression, and we're moving energy within your body through the sun lines. So there's a huge energetic release that happens, and it's an incredibly powerful practice. That's different from a Western massage because there's more manipulation and movement with the practitioner.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for that explanation. That was so succinct and a perfect baseline for all of us to work off of for our conversation today. And I totally agree with what you said. I think Thai bodywork in particular really is like this dance between two people. And it opened me up and stretched and lengthened me in ways that I just haven't felt after a typical massage. So I am a huge fan of Thai bodywork and excited for women everywhere to know more about it after today's conversation. Nicole, let's start by just quickly overviewing, like, what can women expect to experience, whether they're coming in for a yoga session, Thai bodywork, or sound healing? Like, what are those experiences like, and what are some of the benefits that they might feel coming out of practicing one of these three approaches?
It's more of a self-discovery, and they come in for a workout or to be in the heat, or, they hear that this is an interesting practice and good for you from their doctor because they have an injury or something like that. And then when they arrive, all of a sudden they're feeling things in their body and they're having these emotional expressions that they weren't necessarily prepared for. And so I can't speak to one person specifically because there's so many. Everyone pretty much has that experience, but it's incredibly powerful when you find a student in a restorative pose and they ask, why am I crying right now? I don't understand. I'm not upset. And so that is the release in the body, and the power comes in because they realize, wait a minute, this is something that I've been holding for a long time and I didn't even know how to touch it. And now that it's moved, I've created space to be more neutral to whatever that emotion is. Maybe it's a fear or grief. And I feel lighter in my body and feel more empowered now because I am lighter and I'm able to experience joy, and I didn't know that I could even attain that. But by these simple movements in this practice, I leave with this sensation of just bliss, which I call a yogic high. You notice after class,
Yes.
everyone's like losing their bags and like walk out with someone else's shoes, or, they're very confused and disoriented. It's real. It is a yogic high, and it's just the best feeling. And so you question that, and you're like, wait a minute, I need more of this. Or if you're so tired and you push yourself through and you come to a class and after all of a sudden you feel so energetic. And so that's empowering because you didn't know you could make it through the day. And now all of a sudden you have this like natural boost to help you get through the day. Working with different clients who come to me initially, that's not always their intention. Again, it's more to help a hip or a knee or something like that. And then all of a sudden they create this mindfulness and this awareness, and they didn't even know that that's what that was about. And so that's been incredibly empowering and amazing to watch that among my students and my clients. And so moving into sound healing, I always have to preface it as this is a part of your journey. And you might come here thinking, oh, I just want to rest and relax. And it can be a very relaxing experience, but it can also bring up a lot of stuff. And so your experience can vary depending on where you are in your healing journey and whatever is going on in your life. But whether it's this really emotional experience or this joyous experience or maybe just restful experience, all of it bring you to an incredible place, right? It brings you to a place of peace because you're able to move through things. And I think so many of us, when we move quickly, this has been a topic of conversation lately. It's like, I'm so busy. I'm type A. I have so many tasks to do. And I say, well, can you just pause and ask yourself the question, why are you doing more? Or like when you find yourself moving faster to, do all these odds, you need to do this right now? Or is it something that you're avoiding that's within, right? And so whether it's yoga or it's sound healing, you are empowered to sit in that stillness. You're empowered to sit in the discomfort, to trust that I can feel this, I can move through this, and I'm going to arrive on the other side. And it's not about letting go, it's neutralizing your expression to whatever that is. It could be a trigger at home, or you have depression or anxiety, all these things. You're just like, I can't get myself there. No, well, like, let's just feel it and see what's actually there and breathe into it. And then when you realize it's okay, I'm safe and I can feel these things, like, how empowering is that in itself? Because now you're no longer fearful of feeling those emotions, if that makes sense.
It does. No, beautifully said. Thank you.
So when you go into Thai bodywork, again, it's more of a physical expression. You do have the energetic that comes in with sound too, in terms of there's an energy exchange in Thai bodywork, but it is very physical. And so our bodies hold on to energy. And with these deep stretches and compression, you are able to locate little points or pockets, energetic blockages within the body that you weren't aware of. And so maybe you processed things emotionally, intellectually, but you didn't know that it was still there, just like within yoga too, essentially. You're able to observe that, and with the breath create space to let that move and become lighter and release that negative energy, I guess. And so that's super, super helpful. And so many people have that disconnect from the emotional space and the physical. So we're busy, and then you slow down and you feel that can be an entirely different story. And so it's linking, it's that connection of bringing them together. It's that somatic experience of I am one, I am whole, and this is how I'm really feeling. It's not the ego self saying, I'm fine, everything's great. And it's coming in and just really being safe to feel, observe, and to create that space to heal.
Nicole, can you share an example of when you saw someone experience a breakthrough or maybe an emotional release or some other form of pivotal moment while doing one of these somatic practices?
What's going into my head right now is I remember being in New Canaan and you came in, and I didn't know the story, and it's before I really knew you, and I gave you a hug and you were crying and you came into class. Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
No.
No?
How do I
So
remember this?
you had been coming for maybe 6 months or something, and you came in and you were like really emotional. I want to say it was this like maybe in the summer leading into the fall. And I saw you and I just knew like you needed a hug. Like I just knew that, and I gave you a hug and you were really emotional and you were like but really happy to be there. And so that is the experience that I see often. It's like, as women, we are so busy taking care of our families and, our husbands, partners, sisters, parents, kids, like all of these things. And so this is our opportunity. And the word that I use is like the glimmer. It's that little glimmer. It's that moment to step out and really focus on ourselves so that we're recharged to like take action and take care of everybody else. And so what I see with women in particular is they come in and then they'll have these big emotional expressions and then they fill that cup and they come out like ready to take on and to take care of everybody. And so I remember that day with you and seeing you, and I see that with so many, and I knew that you needed a hug in that moment and you needed to be there. And so what did that feel like for you?
I remember coming that Sunday, and there was just a lot going on in my life. And I have found, even within 48 hours of my dad passing away this past fall, I made it to a yoga studio. Like that is how I process emotions so it doesn't stagnate and sit inside me. I need to like move through it and feel it. And in both cases, that class after my dad passed away, and then the class that you're referring to, I just had a lot going on. And I knew that I just needed to like move through it. And I was emotional at the start of class, but I remember that I think we also hugged at the end after Shavasana, because that's when the tears really flowed, is when you've moved and the energy is now like outside your body. You just cry. I don't know. Like
It's a release.
It was such a release.
Floodgates is the release. And then the lightness comes in after that release. So it's the heaviness, you move through it. And again, that's the experience of learning how to neutralize and not be afraid of those emotions, because that creates more heaviness. And now you're in a safe space to be moving the body in a very specific way that just sort of uplifts and shifts it around. And then when you go into Shavasana, then it's just like an emotional release. You're not attached to one thing in particular most times. It's just, oh my goodness, now I can breathe. And now I can fill up with all that I need. And that's usually the cueing that I'll give, is just, imagine the breath as healing light on the inhale, and on the exhale, you're just creating space. You're creating space to heal. You're creating space to let go. And then every inhale, you're filling up with more that you need. And intentionally, your mind is going into the space of what is it that I need versus what's wrong with what's my situation or what's going on in my life. I'm filling up with what I need so that I'm empowered. It's that glimmer. And then I can take that into life. I can take that into my meeting. I can take that into my team. I can use this as a moment, as a woman, and you have a team of people working for you, and one of your teammates is upset, and you're able to support them because now all of a sudden, wait a minute, I worked through that. And so I can tell them like, it's okay. And you can move through this and you can be emotional and not hold back and just take a moment to pause, breathe, find that breath. And then you got this. And so it's just such an empowering thing for yourself, but it's more of, once you acknowledge that within yourself, you're able to really come out there in a big way and be supportive of your community and everyone that you support on the regular. You're a better person for it. So I see these experiences so often, and the big takeaway in life in general, I think we're seeking guidance from others. We want someone to tell us, what is it that we need to do in our life? What's the best move? Help me make this big decision. And the beautiful thing about all three practices that I've observed across the board is that you reclaim your power, because you're able to go within and realize, wait a minute, I don't need to seek advice from anyone. It's really, I have all these answers within myself. I intuitively know what's best and what I need to do. And I feel empowered because I have that clarity in what steps I need to take to continue to move in the right direction. And so the yogic practice is a perfect example of building towards something. So the body is being manipulated and changed. And when you continue to practice more and more, you get stronger and you get stronger and you get challenged and you're put into these poses that are so intimidating. And the reason why it's to reclaim that power. It's to be like, oh my gosh, I never thought I could even imagine doing something like this. And with that commitment, all of a sudden I'm doing things. And because I can do these things physically, now I can do these things emotionally. I believe in myself now more than I ever even imagined because I'm seeing that physical proof of how much I've changed and progressed within my practice. So when you're able to see that in the physical, you can apply that to the emotional.
And to your point, it kind of neutralizes you in the best way and brings your nervous system into a state of peace.
Peace.
Which is what I crave. Like I'm always trying to like take those deep breaths, feel my shoulders go from my ears downward, right?
Yeah.
So much of the day where our shoulders are up here and we're so tense, and just to like take that deep breath, you really feel it all relax. And
exactly.
One thing I've started doing every day is I wake up and do 10 minutes of yoga to start my day. And it's been hard for me in some ways because I'm so wake up, go, get your workout done and be efficient and productive before your kids get up because you have that 1 hour. But the amazing energy and positivity and just overall like feeling of peace I've had these last couple weeks every day by gently easing myself into my morning this way.
Yeah.
It's like I get out of bed and then I'm able to like open up my hips and stretch my side body and twist my spine. And it just starts loosening everything up. And I'm feeling like things are flowing. They're not stagnating anywhere. And it's truly, I think, made a huge difference, not just in how my body feels to start the day, but like absolutely my mind and spirit. It's like you just get out of bed and make them one. And it's been so freeing for, women out there who do yoga as like a workout. You're looking at your Apple Watch and making sure you've gotten those calories or your heart rate up. That's kind of how I used to be. But now the intent of it is so different. And it's amazing how meaningful it can become when you slow down.
Slow down. Exactly.
And ease into it versus like waking up out of the gate hot. So what you're saying is really resonating because I really do believe that simple practice, 10 minutes on the Peloton app most mornings in my living room has completely shifted the way I enter my day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's incredible. You are able to release whatever that maybe anxiety or built up energy that was from the next day, the day before. And, I have this huge list of things that I need to do and I'm going to get caught up in my mind and I'm going to not know where to start and just feel overwhelmed. My breath is no longer there. And so committing to that practice of doing those movements or breath work to just ground. And then, okay, I have this. Now I'm ready to arrive in a calm way and I'm going to show up as my best self because of that.
Totally. I completely agree. It's been really game changing. Kids fighting at breakfast bring a totally different energy to resolving those types of situations after 10 minutes of yoga than if I were to get out of bed and go straight to the kitchen, pour myself, army crawl to the coffee maker and then try and, navigate that conversation. So it's really, really changed the way I've entered my day. And it also brings like a level of compassion for yourself that I don't know we often give ourselves when we're like, going hard on an elliptical or on a treadmill, right? It's like, no, be gentle with yourself. I have time after this is done. I can go like, knock myself out on the treadmill, but like just to start the day that way in such a loving way has been a real shift for me. And I felt it not just in those 10 minutes, but it carries me through the whole day. It really does.
We're less reactive. And when we can have compassion for ourselves and sort of see that maybe shadow self within and be okay with it and be accepting of it, we're more able to be accepting and have more compassion for others.
Yeah, we are.
And be supportive and understand their perspective, right? Just slow down and not be so reactive of, oh, I don't understand why they would say this, or why would they do this, or why are they taking so long? You might have that chatter in the mind, but the goal is to acknowledge that and not react to it and just observe it and let it move and breathe. Right? We want to show up as our best selves and not repress or push away those negative thoughts, because we all have them. It's how do we respond to them? It's how do we slow down, and what do we do with them? No, I'm not going to react to that. I'm going to just breathe right now. I'm going to neutralize. And when we are able to do that, it impacts everyone around us in such a tremendous way. Our kids, especially when I'm sort of worked up and I'm around my kids, they explode. And then once I'm able to slow down and nothing's changed, it's me. It's truly me and how I'm showing up. Then they're like, oh, wait, I don't need to yell right now. I don't need to. And so we have to take a moment, pause, and really look at ourselves and just slow down. So with sound healing, it's different, but you're slowing down and you're feeling. And because you're slowing down, and I always do my sound baths with the Yoga Nidra, which is a guided meditation, and that guides you through the body. So the mind kind of wanders a little bit, but it's brought right back in. So you're really following. You get this new sense of clarity and this calm energy that runs through your body, where you just feel like, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. And so students will come in and they'll feel frazzled and overwhelmed, and all of a sudden they're just calm and they're in this energetic space or this emotional space where they are able to just, wait, I know exactly what it is that I need to do. And so I've seen that so many times. And, when it comes to big moves or career moves or things at home and all that stuff where they thought that they needed external guidance, and they're able to make those decisions because it's that inner knowing. There's no more of the ego telling you one thing. It's physically, you have that inner knowing, that intuition. And so you hone into that intuition, time body work, sound healing, yoga, because you're forced to really feel and listen. And so that you're connecting with that whole self. And once you have that, it's the most empowering thing you could do for yourself.
Cosign. I totally agree with that. I think often we talk, especially on the show, about how many women may not realize that they have low self-worth or that they're in their heads all day, right? Like they're just going and things seem okay and they're not really paying attention to how they feel, because we often don't prioritize how we ourselves feel throughout the day. Yeah. And I'm just curious if there's some subtle signs, whether physical, emotional, or even behavioral in your experience, that indicate that a woman might be disconnected from her power and why she might want to consider one of these 3 practices to help kind of regain that awareness and presence.
It's, what is the story that you tell yourself? Where do you wake up saying? What is that story? Maybe wake up and even write it down. Is this a healthy story? Because our minds, we repeat, we're on the autopilot repetition. And so it builds and it builds and builds. And if that's a negative story of you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, I'm scared, then how is the body going to respond to that? So it's catching those thoughts initially, identifying those thoughts, writing those thoughts down, and then, okay, how do I want to feel? And can I reframe that narrative? And if you're not able to do that, then that is an opportunity to, one, either slow down and breathe because I'm moving too fast, or maybe I need to move my body in a faster way so that I can release this energy. It's all energy, and it's not good or bad. Even that, maybe it is good because that's going to help you be more successful. But in this moment, those negative thoughts are not helping you be more successful. They're beating you down, right? And if you can come into it with a positive attitude and a positive approach toward yourself, then that's going to radiate and you're only going to do better. And so it's relearning. And so I think that's patterning that we have as kids. Maybe we heard things as a child, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. And so we'll overcompensate in ways to prove our worth. But at the end of the day, the whole point is to arrive home and know that we are worthy and we are good and we're showing up as our best selves. And so when you're able to do that, then you can show up and be your best, right? And so what is that story? And if the mind is moving so quickly, then where is the body going? Am I, cleaning? Am I yelling at my kids? Okay. Or I'm yelling at my friends or coworkers or teammates. Okay. I need a minute. I need a pause. I need a timeout to slow down and just reset. And so I think that when you don't have this practice, you're not able to notice those little things so much, right? You're not. And it's socially, oh, well, she just gets angry and I'm reactive, right? Well, maybe you don't need to be. So take a moment and slow down a little bit, and then you won't have that big reaction. And so those are those little things. It's a story in the head. It's how you're physically responding that I need to like reel it in and what do I need? Do I need to meditate right now? Do I need to take a class? And then once you do those activities that help you restore, you can acknowledge, oh my gosh, I feel so amazing. Okay, I need to integrate and bring more of this into my life. And so you lost your dad, and you remember the process of like leading up to that. And I know that you had a hard time sleeping and all of those things. So like in those moments, where are those glimmers? And so life is not easy. We're navigating through all these like super challenging moments, and it's not like life is going to get easier. So how do we learn to continue to navigate these moments and be empowered by them? And it's by doing these things for ourselves to sustain our health and to set a good example for our family and our loved ones, right? And so what was like the most helpful thing for you when you were going through that? What was your glimmer?
I mean, I think in retrospect, I wish I had thought to start my yoga practice earlier, right? Because I only started that when we moved into the apartment and I found a space that really spoke to me. And I was like, I just want to be in this corner doing yoga in the mornings. But like before that, my glimmer was nature. That was non-negotiable for me. I had to get out and see a body of water every day, no matter how cold or how windy. I would go out and just be by myself and feel the sun on my face. Sometimes not. Sometimes it was like even drizzly, but like I had to go see water and feel the fresh air and move my legs. And that was like my time. And to your point, I mean, there was a week where I didn't sleep a minute for 4 days straight. And it was a little bit like an out of body experience. Right. Like I knew I was not in a place where it was becoming safe, but that walk really grounded me. It was like the one thing that I felt like I could come back to and listen to my feet on the sidewalk and take those deep breaths. And it really, in retrospect, I think it really helped. I think it really, really helped. And that's what I did.
You did it every day, right? Mm-hmm. And so you built that into your routine. And so maybe you're navigating these really powerful emotions, but it's like, okay, at 12 o'clock or whatever time it was, I'm going to go for this walk and I know I'm going to feel better. And the mind knows that. So it's like, okay, I can get through the day until this time. And then I'm going to have that glimmer. I'm going to feel better. And then I'm going to come right out and I'm going to, be able to handle whatever comes my way. And so it's incorporating those glimmers. And so it was connecting with nature and moving your body. And, so yoga, meditation, sound, all those experiences are those glimmers to uplift you, to empower you, and then set you up to move through the day or the week. Or, when you're so busy, even me as a teacher where I teach all the time, I'm not able to take very many classes. So I do my own practice, but to build that time in, and I really look forward to that time. And so that's my glimmer. And I know that I'm going to move a lot and I'm going to feel so much better afterward. And I'm going to be ready to do whatever it is that I need to do. And I went to a sound bath myself over the weekend after a really long day of work. And I typically will have this more spiritual experience and receive all this insight. But I was so tired that it was just like I melted into the ground and I was able to just release so much and now create space to just be able to take in more. And so that was my experience in that moment, as it varies every time depending on what you need. But I was so tired and I just really needed that very restful experience. And that's exactly what I got from that session, which is amazing.
That is amazing. I love that. And I think it's such a good thing to highlight the stories that we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And I loved that you said that. And I think, so many women don't even realize the story they're telling themselves, because that was me for so many years.
So long.
But I think even just like waking up, realizing, okay, it's Tuesday. Today, I have to make sure the lunch gets to school, that so-and-so gets picked up, that I make sure I make this call or go to this appointment. I have to get this on, this is what I'm cooking for dinner tonight. Like all of that stuff is the story you're telling yourself, right? Like that all counts. It doesn't have to be a conscious, like, who am I? How do I feel about myself? It could literally be you wake up and think about your day. And I think what you're posing, Nicole, is to just stop and say, okay, let's focus on me for a second. Just like come back, body, breath, mind, spirit, all of it in one. Like take a few minutes to just collect yourself, be with yourself, and then ask yourself, why am I doing these different things today? Do they all have to get done? Do they have to get done this way or that way? Like, why? Just why? And if the answer is they all have to get done, that's actually completely okay. I promise you, in taking those few minutes for yourself upon waking up in the morning, the energy in which you tackle those tasks will be different, because you're coming at it from a very different present place versus a just autopilot, I'm going through the motions place.
Yep. And we so easily get sucked up into that pattern of autopilot and moving. And then, unfortunately, it's not until an injury or illness knocks us on our butts and forces us to slow down and acknowledge. So how can we get there before that happens? How can we take care of ourselves before that panic attack comes in? Because that's what will happen when we push ourselves. We're not machines. We're the masculine energy is the doing, and it's the movement, and it's all of those things. And the feminine energy is love. It's finding that internal, eternal connection to self and radiating that. And so we want to step away from that really fast do and come back to that wholeness and that self-love connection. And okay, what do I need right now? I really need to just lay down, right? Or I need to go to this class, or I need to take a sound bath, or, my body really hurts and aches in ways. So Thai body work is going to be exactly what I need, because I can move some things and rest and restore. And so listening and just taking those moments.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's so important. Are there any misconceptions about these three practices that you wish women understood?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to yoga, it's I'm not flexible, or I get bored. It's not for me. And so maybe not. I would challenge anyone who says that. I think that, there's a flavor for everyone in terms of teachers. And so exploring and finding the right fit. And okay, so I'm bored. Maybe I need to start with more of a flow. And so there's so much movement that there's no way that you can be bored. If I'm not flexible, that's the perfect place to start, because I couldn't touch my toes when I first started this practice. And now I can do all sorts of crazy things. And it's because it's that repetition and consistency that creates space in the body. So you don't start running and expect to run a marathon the first day. It's the same thing with our bodies and yoga. So those would be the misconceptions with yoga specifically. Sound healing, I don't think that people realize how powerful it is. And so they don't understand what it's really about, and that you really have this energetic experience, this emotional, almost spiritual experience. And so they don't get that. And when they come, they're so surprised. Oh my gosh, I was seeing colors. I was feeling tingling in my legs, and my stomach was gurgling in my throat. And yeah, that's what happens. It's really powerful. And most people can't even imagine that from a bowl or a gong, right? Or chimes. They don't realize it. And I don't think anyone realizes it until you have that experience. And so the misconception would be not understanding the power of the practice. Thai body work when I first did it, I just couldn't believe it. I've always loved all different types of body work my whole life. I've tried pretty much everything. And I had my first Thai experience when I was traveling in Costa Rica. And it was just beyond because, I've been practicing yoga forever. And so it was a combination of bringing yoga and body work and sort of the energy all in one experience. And so that like sound, most people don't realize how powerful it is. It's not a passive experience. It's an interactive experience. And what I found is people will get emotional, when you touch their heart or anywhere within this space or a hip opener, and they'll discover emotional blockages or things within their body that they didn't know were there. And, they'll think of a loved one who passed or something that they're holding on to. And so I've noticed that has been the biggest takeaway of, oh my gosh, wow, this is really, really powerful. I'm able to connect with my body in a way that I never realized.
Nicole, if a woman is feeling stuck or powerless right now in her own life, what's one practice that she can do today to start shifting her energy?
Get to a yoga class. Get to a yoga class and think about your first class. And so it's really inspiring to come into any class because you'll have people taking their first class and you'll have people who have been practicing for 20, 30 years. And you can see that. And so when you're able to see the dynamic from one to the other, wherever you are within yourself, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine doing these things, but with the consistency of going, now I have more flexibility. I used to need these blocks and now I don't really need these blocks. And oh my gosh, I've found this core strength that I never thought existed. I can lift my legs up. I can start to invert and feel the sensation of my legs over my head. Like, how powerful are you there? And so when you start to see that huge progression within your own physical body, because it's huge, then you can realize, oh my gosh, so if I can do this to my physical body, I can apply this to my life and I can make these changes, these necessary changes and improvements, whatever it may be. And so I think that would be the best and most effective example because it's just so tangible.
I think that's a great example. Thank you for sharing. What's your personal mantra or belief about healing and empowerment?
My personal mantra, I always do my best. And so my best could be my worst on one day. And it could truly be my best on another day. But I'm going to show up as my best self. I'm going to do my best always. And so that is my mantra. And so that best could be, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to do my best by nurturing myself because that's what I need. Or I'm feeling really active today and I'm going to be able to accomplish all of those things. And then on those days that I'm feeling off, I know that with that rest, then I'll be able to achieve and move because I have something to compare it to. So I always say I'm showing up as my best. And that could be, slowing down or moving fast, depending on wherever I am.
I think my mantra is learning to love yourself is the most effective way to find happiness and health.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I really think it comes down to loving yourself. I mean, truly loving yourself, not going to get a manicure, but truly loving yourself, mind, body, spirit. And to your point, and I think a lot of the practices that we're talking about today start to bring together your mind, body, spirit so that you can drop back down into yourself, be a lot more curious about how you're feeling. And that awareness is your key to unlocking this presence and this energy shift that starts to change everything around you.
Yeah.
So I am a big believer that it all comes down to self-worth and learning to love yourself in the end.
Absolutely. So your mantra would be, I love myself. Right? I love myself fully for all that I am, weaknesses and strengths and everything combined, because I'm enough.
I am enough.
Yeah.
I'm still learning that every day. It is still a concept I struggle with even after a year of this work, but I'm so much further along this journey than I was a year ago. I mean, night and day leaps, but I always say life is a journey. You never
Right.
reach the destination. You're
Yeah.
constantly doing what your mantra is, which is to show up as your best self on any given day.
Yeah.
And your best self might be like a puddle of tears one day
Oh,
or conquering a mountain the next, right?
absolutely.
But like this whole journey that we call life is about healing and being doing the best you can do every day
Yep.
and being okay with that at the end of the day, being accepting of yourself
Yeah.
and that whatever you're bringing is enough.
Yeah, life is not easy. It is messy and it will continue to be messy. You'll have beautiful moments, you'll have neutral moments, you'll have terrible moments. And it's just how do you show up in all of those experiences and just being okay with yourself and comfortable with yourself that you're able to navigate them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And I love that you said that because there were periods of this journey for me where it was all happiness. It was all manifesting butterflies and rainbows for weeks on end. And it was so lovely and fun and
Yeah,
easy. And then
it
it
got
got
real.
hard, man. I'm just going to throw like
Yeah.
dad died. I had
Ooh.
insomnia. I moved 3 times. Like
Yeah.
you name it. Like it just, and like I recognize I am still very blessed and all of those things. Don't get me wrong. I do find gratitude every day because I think it's such a powerful practice.
Mhm.
But like things got really hard and a lot of the stuff that I was learning and, through all of you, the heroes, it felt a little less accessible, even though it was still there for me. And I
Yeah.
employed a lot of the methods
Yeah.
and it helped me through. Like, you guys and what you've taught me is how I came out the other side in the place that I am today
Mm.
versus how I would have handled that as my old self.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it was a really good lesson for me that like life is hard. It is messy. You
Yeah.
can't control it. It's
Yeah.
about how you show up and experience it. And you do have a say in those experiences.
Absolutely. And it's not always going to be hard, right? You can move through them. It will get lighter. Whatever you're going through, it will get better. But you have the tools to navigate whatever comes your way. And those little like moments of self-care and those little glimmers, you had the rainbows and butterflies that prepared you for that. But it was also helpful because you can get to that point again. You just have to move through this stuff.
Yeah.
And when I was going through my divorce and I'm taking care of these 2 little kids by myself and all of this fear was coming in of what do I do? I don't know how to move forward. And I simply would take an Epsom salt bath every night and meditate. And I knew that I would be okay and I could get to the other side. And that was really what prepared me for it. Every single night, I'd get through the day, put the kids to bed, I'd get in that bath and I would ground and I would find that clarity and it'd be these little baby steps, right? Every day I'm moving towards something and it took a long time, took years, but I arrived on the other side, right? It does, but that was my practice that gave me the strength and the courage to make these crazy life-changing decisions that no one could have helped me get through. I found it within myself. I did. And I made all the right decisions. And so we can all find that within ourselves by slowing down. And I didn't have to pay money to go anywhere. I was in my own home. I just needed a bath. And so maybe that wouldn't resonate, but maybe the walk for you, right, in nature, that's the grounding moment that helped you with the clarity and to move the grief and the energy to get you through it. And you're able to get through it. And you're moving through it. It's a process and it'll take a while.
Yeah.
But every day you get stronger.
Yeah, I did. I really did. And I'm just so grateful to all of you and to have had so much information and so much support and tools that I could reach for in those hard moments.
Exactly.
It was really helpful. It was really, really helpful. I mean, I love all 3 of the approaches we've talked about today, but like yoga has actually transformed my life. It really has. It's the most powerful thing. It's hard to articulate the shift that happens for me in a warm vinyasa class or any sort of, even in the living room, even if it's not heated, just moving my body in those positions, the release that happens.
It makes you a better person.
It really does. It makes me a much better person.
Much
Boy,
better
I do it
person.
daily. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, like we've already been there in the first episode. That's one to listen to, guys. But like, I could not touch my toes. I couldn't, do triangle without like 3 blocks. I mean, I was really a beginner. And now I'm practicing holding my body weight in plank form an inch above the ground with my elbows tucked into my sides. Like I'm seeing the muscles in my arm for the first time. Like it's really exciting. It's really exciting.
So you see it, it's tangible. You see these things changing. And so once you see that, then oh my gosh, I can do this. I'm empowered. Like I've made this physical change. There's so much more that I can do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Nicole, thank you so much for being here today. I had so much fun with you as always, and I can't wait to have you back again.
Yeah. Thank you, Chandler. It was so wonderful having this morning with you. It was such an honor. So
right back at you. I love our conversations.
Yeah.
And to those tuning in, if you liked today's conversation, please share it with friends and don't forget to subscribe. You can also visit healingheroespodcast.com to get resources, meet the heroes, and share your ideas for future episodes. Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, be curious, be courageous, and be kind to yourself. You've got this.